That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it gets harder and harder to resist.
Hello and welcome to Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget.
Hello, Bridget. What's going on?
You got somebody else over there with you?
Just my other alter egos, personality things, No. Wow. What is going on? We got a show tonight. Who is our guest?
Yes. We have Joe DeBartolo. I hope I said his last name correctly. He's actor, producer. He's been in a shit ton of movies, done a lot of projects. So super excited to talk to him.
He sounds familiar. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, sounds familiar. I think he may have been in like several of your movies.
Several of my movies. He was in a few of mine. Yes, we'll talk to him about those movies and then quite a few more later on. All right. So let's talk about a few other things. So Pearl Jam just released a new song. Going to release a new album this year. Green Day released a new album. Blink-182 had one not too long ago. We have the Scream movies just came out last year and year before last. I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend. There's remakes supposed to happen, reboots or something. I feel like the 90s are back.
I fucking love it. I don't know about you, but
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Love the music. Love those movies. Not all of the 90s were classics, but I do like those. So yes, I am enjoying the renaissance of the 90s. So not too shabby.
I love it. I was at a party earlier tonight and there was all these live bands and someone played, they started playing Alice in Chains. I was like, oh yes.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
The 90s weren't for everybody. A lot of people don't like the 90s. I've definitely heard quite a few people saying, don't like those alternative bands or whatever, not big on that stuff. But that was my era for sure.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. So moving on from that, we got a little thing going on called the clown contest, right? Talk to us a little about that.
Yeah.
What's going on with this clown thing?
Okay, so there's a movie called Circus of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's by Bloody Bill, Billy Pond.
Yeah, we had him on. We had him on
our podcast. So I remember texting you because I saw a little contest. They're coming out with Circus of the Dead Part 2. And I remember texting you. I was like, it's a long shot, but they're having a contest for horror fans that if you want to be part of the cast in Circus of the Dead Part 2. So I remember texting you and I was like, it's a long shot, but I think I'm going to try it. And at that time, I didn't really realize what I was getting into. It was just, hey, send in your headshot. Send in a clip of you dying.
Right.
I was like, okay. Well, I didn't want to film anything. I just took a tiny little clip, off of a movie I did, and it turned into this big thing where it goes into this thing where I have to be voted in, and it does cost money for me to get votes, but the money goes towards the making of the film. And at first I was kind of like, I don't want to do this, but you know what? The money goes towards the making of something I absolutely love and something I'm extremely passionate about, which is independent horror films.
Right.
And so I was like, dude, I'm going to go for it. And if I don't win, I don't win. It's all good. I try my best. And all the money that I bring in for the votes goes to a really good cause. So, so listeners out there, go and vote for Brigitte Byron. You can go on my Facebook page, which is lynn.bridget, or my Instagram, or you can go directly to the website and cast a vote for me. And I'll say it out for you. I'm going to go really slow. It's the website is Circus of the Dead, 2.us.launchpad6.com/join the cast /group Popcorn.com. It's the longest one ever. I was like, I'm going to go really slow. You may just want to go to my Facebook page.
Yeah.
Or
might need that link.
Maybe we can even put a link on our Facebook group. But God, oh my God, I would so appreciate it. If you go and vote for me, God, it would be like such a dream come true to be part of this film. It's the lead actor is Bill Oberst Jr., who was also on our podcast with Billy Pond, and the role is to get murdered by Papa Corn, which is the character, the killer clown. I'm like, oh my God, that would be like my dream to be killed by.
I think that's the perfect role for you.
I know shit. I'm like, oh my God, not just any clown, Papa Corn. Oh my God. He's one of my favorite killer clowns. So great. And I think it was really cool that that Bloody Bill put this thing together. It's really smart. You know, people don't think about it. They watch all these movies, but they don't really think about all the effort and all that it takes to make a film. And the biggest thing is the money.
Right. Yeah, it's a very interesting way to crowdfund for sure.
Yeah. So
now right now it's in round 1, but there's going to be other rounds, right? As well.
Yep.
So
round 1, it looks like I'm going to go into round 2. So they've broken it down into different groups. There's 4 clowns. I got put in Papa Corn's group.
Okay.
And I'm in second place right now. So keep me alive so I can get killed.
So there's different other groups as well.
Yeah. So there's 4 groups. There's 4 groups, and you have to be, I think, in, I don't know, first, second, or third place in your group to make it to the next round.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how many rounds it is. I know the finals is going to be at, I believe, March the 29th.
Okay.
So I still got a little ways to go. It's crazy. It's reading through the rules and everything. It's and it's all legit. You can't even vote for yourself on there. So it's literally all my votes are from people who has gone out to support me and support the movie. So
awesome. All right. Well, everybody go and pitch in a little bit, and let's get her to get killed on screen.
Yes. Keep me alive so I can get killed later by popcorn.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Let's talk about a few other little things here before we bring out Joe. So I've been going down this huge rabbit hole of stuff on the Internet Archive and the effed up movies site, Internet Archive especially. I had no idea. There's just so much stuff on there. There's so much stuff. Just tons of movies and old footage and TV shows that you haven't probably thought of in years. There's just so much stuff on there. So I've just been kind of just looking at all kinds of stuff. There's some documentaries and horror documentaries and stuff. I watched quite a few of them. I watched one was like a chiller documentary, and it was like the top 15 slashers and stuff. And I won't go through them all, but like Candyman was like number 11. I thought that's a little low for Candyman because I really like him. But there was some in the top 10. There was a few that like American Psycho, which I was like, I mean, I like that movie. It's really good, but I don't know if he was,
that good.
Only had the one. Dexter was in there too, which I was like, okay, I do love Dexter, even if they never could get the ending right both times. I still love the show. But here was the top 3. See what you think about this. Top 3 slashers.
Okay.
Number 3, Jason. Number 2, Michael Myers. And number 1, Freddy Krueger.
That's what I thought you were going to say when I was like, well, right.
What do you think?
I mean, that's very mainstream.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because I love all 3 of the franchises. Are they my favorite?
Right.
But I think that they should have not went so mainstream. So everybody knows these. I'm really it cracks me up, and I'm surprised that American Psycho and Dexter was in the top 10.
Yeah. It was interesting.
And where did you say that you were? Where did you say that you were seeing these at?
I was just watching on the Internet Archive. It's a chiller horror documentary. Yeah. Okay. But of those 3, do you feel like that's the right order of those 3?
No.
No? Okay. What
do you think it's the wait a minute? Do you think it's the right order?
I do. But what do you think the order would be?
I don't know. See, all right. So it was all right. Freddy was number 1.
Yeah. Jason was 3. Michael Myers was 2.
I mean, they're all pretty gory. Maybe Freddy was the goriest.
I mean, I don't know about the goriest. I just think I just think he's the best concept. I think
he's
think,
good for number one. I might have. I think Michael and Jason should have been swapped though.
You think swapped? I mean, they're both a little uneven in my book. I mean, they both have. I mean, compared, I don't think any of Jason's movies is as good as the original Halloween. But I mean, there's some good Jason movies, and there's some bad Jason movies. There's some bad Michael Myers movies. I mean,
that's what I was gonna say.
Look at the last
really
one.
all of them. Really.
I mean, I like some of. I mean, I love 1. 2 is pretty good, honestly. I like Season of the Witch, even though that's not Michael. 4 is not that great. 4 and 5, they have moments. Okay, maybe 4 is decent. 5 is iffy. 6 is pretty rough. That's the one with the Thorn Rose, the conspiracy thing. That one's rough. And then what do we have? We had H2O. I like H2O.
I liked H2O. Good.
Wasn't too thrilled on the one with Buster Rhymes. Well, not the greatest.
Seen that one time, I think.
Not the greatest. Rob Zombie's remake, the first one, it's decent. I like it. I don't like it as good as the original, but it's a good movie.
A lot of people did not like that one, but I personally loved it because I liked kind of knowing that backstory. Yeah. I thought he did really good on the backstory.
I didn't care about the backstory.
You didn't?
Not the backstory. I actually liked it better once he got into it. Like I thought, like once he gets into it and he is Michael Myers, it does pretty good job, pretty decent. I didn't really like his second one at all. Really,
the second one was terrible. I've only seen the second one time, but I feel like there was too much crying and screaming in it.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was some brutality in it, which whatever is okay, but yeah, I didn't like it as a whole. And then we had David Gordon Green's Halloween, which was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty well done. Halloween Kills, a little off kilter. A lot of people didn't like it. I kind of liked it. I thought it was different. At least he didn't die at the end, which was the only one he never died in, which was pretty cool. And then we got the last Halloween Ends, which was in my opinion, a total atrocity. But so yeah, they're totally uneven, But overall, I don't know. I don't know. I get in different moods, but I do like Michael Myers a little bit better, I think, just because you have a million timelines, but you do have that sort of connection with Laurie Strode and everything. So I like that dynamic, whichever way you want to play it. But Jason doesn't have a whole lot of that. He had his mother there for a while, but then they dropped all that really. It's kind of, they really, especially with Michael and Jason, they sort of just throw stuff at the wall and see what is stuck, and
right,
and then see what happens. You don't even get the hockey mask until part 3. You don't even get him really until the end of part 1. So, it's kind of a process with that one. I mean, and there's definitely ones like that I don't really like that much, but yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay. I thought that of the 3, that was a pretty good list. I do think Freddy's got some stinkers too, man. He really does. But the concept of the dreams and everything, I think, is a really brilliant concept. So well, yeah, that's my take on it. One other thing here. So we talk about physical copies and digital streaming, all the ways that we watch movies, because we watch movies all the time. There's so many different ways you can watch movies these days. I was just watching stuff on the Internet Archive. That's just a website. But we do like our physical copies and stuff. But the days are dwindling down on some of that stuff. At Best Buy now, they have begun to liquidate some of their stock. They did some sales online. I know they're doing some sales in store. So if you're near a Best Buy, you should go check it out, I guess, because they are reducing the price on quite a bit of their DVDs and movies and clearing them out because they are no more. It was also announced that Disney getting out of the DVD business as well. Not really, but they are. They're no longer going to do their own distribution of DVDs. They are handing that over to Sony. And they had like a club too, a Disney movie club. Remember like the old Columbia House Club? Remember that? Yeah. Okay. Well, Disney still held on to that. They've had it for like 20 something years, and they're ending that. They're ending all of that. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. So all that's going to go away. And so it's always an ever changing landscape of where you're going to be watching movies and how you're going to watch them. I don't think physical media is going to dry up anytime soon at all, but it is going to get a little bit harder to find. Obviously, Target and Walmart, they have not announced that they're going to stop, and they may not, but they've definitely dwindled in their stores. The amount that they carry. Online, you can purchase quite a bit, but Amazon, of course, is still a big seller. And a lot of boutique labels, there's still tons of those that sell their own stuff that you can buy stuff from. And of course, obviously you can buy used stuff and stuff secondhand, like on eBay and stuff. But yeah, it is kind of changing a little bit. And so, a lot of people go into streaming, watch that stuff. But that stuff was kind of the Wild West for the longest time. We had Netflix, and that was kind of the only one for the longest time. And then all these other ones popped up, and and some of those haven't really worked out. There's been talk that I guess Paramount and Peacock is going to join, possibly.
Wow! Oh,
yeah,
wow.
They're in talks. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but so obviously it's not doing as well for some of them. After so many years, Netflix went to a version with commercials, as did Amazon now. The Prime, they've changed where they have commercials as well as an option. So the thing about that stuff is, well, as these streaming things go back to commercials, we're basically just getting back in the way.
We're basically getting back to cable, right?
We are. Yes, and even primetime stuff. So commercials. And so here's the thing about that stuff. If people are willing to pay for content with commercials, a lot of these free apps that have commercials, they're going to be going away.
That's what really scares me.
Well, there's already talk that Amazon is going to shutter their own one called Freevee. Have you ever been on that one?
I've heard of it. I haven't actually been on it.
Yeah.
Maybe I have. I feel like it pops up all the time.
It used to be something like IMDb Free or something like that. It was I don't know, some different name, but they changed it to Freevee. I don't really use it either that much, but I know it is an option that has quite a few movies on it that you can watch with commercials, kind of like Tubi. So there's talks that might be going away as well. Once that happens, I mean, that's what I'm saying. 10 years from now, all the stuff that we got even right now is going to be different. They're going to try to get more of a hold on all this stuff, and it probably isn't going to be. I don't know if it'll work for them. We'll see. But yeah, obviously, what's going to happen? Who knows? But it's always changing. It seems like every month something new.
Do you think at some point in time they're just going to completely do away with physical copies? Everything is going to be digital. Do you feel that way?
Well, they would. I think some of them would, in their own way, like that.
I think it's gonna eventually get to that point. If you think about like music and like CDs, when's the last time you bought a CD? Right?
When's the last time I bought a CD? Does he still make CDs?
Yeah. I mean,
they do. They still make, and vinyl is still popular, more popular than ever.
I buy more damn vinyl than I do anything. Just I like the way it sounds.
Well, that's kind of a thing, That's and so I mean that it didn't go away. Streaming with music is huge.
Well, not go away like 100%, but
yeah, I mean,
go away. Like you can't go into like a Walmart or something, buy a CD. I don't think you can.
Yeah, they used to, the one that I frequent. They used to have a little rack. I mean, it was so small, like a handful, maybe 20 CDs or something. You're not going to get. You're not going to go in there and find something you're looking for that came out 10 years ago or something,
I know if they do away with the aisles and aisles of movies, that's going to suck. But I feel like that's probably it. I feel like that's going to happen at some point. In mine,
they've already took out about half of one side and put like Funko Pops and toys and stuff, movie related toys or something. So it's definitely happening.
Yeah,
it's definitely happening. Yeah, I mean, I think that it may go out of all of those, and they just won't keep them in the stores, and they might just like have them in the warehouse and just sell them online. I don't think Amazon's really gonna. I mean, it would be really surprising if they announced they weren't going to do movies, because I think that they do pretty good business. I could be wrong, but I feel like they probably do, and they don't have them in stores anywhere, so they don't have to worry about that. So, but as far as like the companies making them themselves, I don't know. I mean, I think as long as there's a market for it, they're going to do it.
Yeah, it's all in boiled down. It's all a money thing, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if
that's the almighty dollar, doesn't it?
And again, this is going to be more of a generational thing. Like for my generation and earlier generations, they like hard copies, they like physical copies, they want to own those kind of things. Younger generations, I don't know. They're not going to care about that stuff. They don't have. They didn't have the movie rental days and the sort of tangible things in their hands. They don't care that much. They're not going to care that much about it, because a lot of it is about nostalgia in its own way. So I mean, could I see it going away completely? I don't think it will ever go away completely, but it definitely will dwindle down to where it will probably be a lot harder to find, or maybe not even harder to find, but more expensive, because not so much is going to be made, and you can't get it as many places as you can. So it will be a little bit more of I got to pony up a little bit more dough and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah. Well, speaking of movies, what movies have you been watching?
Well, I've watched a lot, but I'm just going to name a few.
All right. Sure.
First thing I want to talk about is we went to a live show of Dr. Gangrene's sanitarium in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
So we actually went to the live show. It was like his Valentine's Day special, and it was really cool when we went in there. I've never been to a live show like that, so that was pretty fun. We watched the movie and everything, and the movie was The Brain That Wouldn't Die.
Oh, the old movie, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen it before, and it's got really low ratings, but it was actually pretty good. It was pretty like raunchy for 1962.
Right.
I thought it was pretty good, and so that was really fun. When we first got there, we just so happened to sit down next to Ben and Stacey Dixon. Yeah, so that was fun, and of course, it was a Valentine's Day special, so they were actually guests on the show. Ben and Stacey Dixon, they own Slaughterhouse, Full Moon Cineplex, Lone Wolf, and they do the big horror convention in Nashville every year, which is the Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Festival.
Right.
Mark your calendars, because it's coming up very soon. It's my absolute favorite horror convention, and I will have a booth there. So mark your calendars for March 29th, 30th, and the 31st at Sonesta Hotel in Nashville. So that was pretty cool. They got up and kind of talked about that. So that was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
The movie was really good too. Another movie that I watched, I've never seen this one before, and it's a low budget indie horror movie, and it was actually really good. It's Hell's Highway. Have you seen this one?
Hell's Highway.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
2002, directed by Jeffrey Leroy. Really good. A sexy homicidal hitchhiker called herself Lucinda commits acts of gory mayhem against unexpected people who pick her up off the road to help her out. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It was a movie that was recommended to me.
I have seen this movie.
Have you seen it?
I have seen this
like
movie. Yeah, I do like it. Phoebe Dollar, she was in that movie. She was also in a movie called Goth that I thought was really good.
Which character was she in?
She is the main
Lucinda?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, she did really great. Really, really great. When she got in the car, with the guy, the two guys and the two girls, I was like, oh my God, did she just do that? Oh, this is kind of dirty. Right. Wow. It's pretty good. I would definitely recommend that one.
Yeah, if you get a chance, try to find Goth.
Goth. I'm write that one down. Okay. Yeah. Goth. So she's in that one. What year did that come out? Do you know, or kind of time frame?
It's probably around the same time as this one is.
Cool. I'll definitely check that out then. I did a rewatch of The Babysitter from I think it's a Netflix original.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I love
Samara.
it.
Samara.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny actually.
Yeah.
And the reason I did a rewatch of it is because I had no idea that there was even a part two.
Yes,
There's the
there is.
babysitter killer queen. So,
Yep.
Tracy had never seen either one of them. I was like, let's watch the first one before we watch the second one. So the second one I didn't like as good.
It's not as good. No,
I
don't like
fell
it
asleep. He did fall asleep.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad, but yeah, it's definitely not as good.
The CGI was really bad, like really bad.
Yeah.
I would think for that type of budget that they could have done a little bit better on that, but overall it was still good, still funny. So those are good. Another one that I wanted to talk about is something that my kiddo had me watch.
Okay.
I say kiddo, but she's 17. Usually, so everyone probably knows, they listen to the podcast. She's not a horror person. She's, anime and gamer. And so she has me watch little videos all the time. Mom, check this out. She'll pull up stuff on YouTube all the time.
Uh-huh.
So she had me watch this little thing called Happy Tree Friends. Do you know about Happy Tree Friends?
I've heard that name, so I don't know if you were mentioning it to me or somebody else, but I've heard that, but I don't think I've seen it.
I definitely didn't mention it to you because I just kind of found out about it. So it's like an adult cartoon, like disguised as a children's show. It's very, very dark humor. So she has me watch this. I watched a few of them, but the first one she had me watch is called Oz Cold Lemonade. Eyes.
Yeah.
Like your eyeballs. Oz Cold Lemonade. It's barely over 2 minutes. Like you're watching it, you're like, oh, I'm just watching like, something for like a toddler. And you're like, holy shit. So it's got the WTF moments for sure. So I had to mention that. Check it out on YouTube, Happy Tree Friends. If you can spare a little over 2 minutes. This one that Oz Cold Lemonade, oof, it's pretty good for a cartoon. If you're into like that, dark humor. The last one, I've watched so many movies, but there's just a few that I want to name. But last one, I'm going to talk about together is our extreme pick.
Extreme pick of the week.
Yes. Life and Death of a Porno Gang.
Life and Death of a Porno Gang. Yes.
I had a hard time getting the damn thing to play, but I finally got to watch it today.
Okay, yeah. All right. And
so, I really thought that it was going to be, I really thought I was going to have a hard time making it through the movie, just kind of based off the title.
Yeah, me too. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be rough.
It wasn't nowhere near as bad as what I thought. It's very, very slow to take off. And I do think there's a lot of parts in there that were unnecessary. They could have cut a lot of it out. I feel like they were just trying to take up time or something. They just filmed like unnecessary little scenes. But I probably won't watch it again. But it kind of, in the end, I thought it was kind of sad.
I actually really like this movie.
You did like it?
I actually really liked it. I did not know what I was getting into, and I didn't think I would like it, really, honestly, by the title alone. But I did really like it. Because first of all, you got this guy. He's just trying to make his first feature, like a documentary thing, and you run into the same problem that every independent filmmaker does: don't have the money, trying to find the money. So he's, trying to figure that out, and he inadvertently hooks up with this porn guy and starts making movies for him, and then he gives him money to make the movies, and he decides to make his own movie with it, and that didn't work out, and then he has to owe the guy and pay him some money to he kind of just skips town with his own porn cabaret, and which is ingenious, I guess, in its own way. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really well made. Again, not what you would think by the title, really.
Yeah, not at all. I did have a connection with the characters, but obviously at the end I was just like, oh man, all he wanted to do was make a feature film.
yeah. And then of course, they get strapped for money. They get kind of ran off from places and just not really making the money that they want to. They're kind of just living that sort of nomad life, punk rock, do it yourself kind of thing, and then of course they get this opportunity to make money, and he doesn't want to do it. None of them want to do it really, but eventually they end up having to and everything. Yep. And just that whole process is a little tragic for sure. The whole thing, but I thought it was well done. This is a Serbian film, believe it or not.
Yeah. And the storyline is great. You got a guy that just wants to make a feature film, and he runs into a problem having no money. Because remember, you gotta have money to make a movie. That's why I think it's great that Bloody Bill's doing this contest to help support them, help to raise the funds to make the movie.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea, because it does. I mean, you can have the best damn ideas for movies, but you can't pull it off if you don't have the funds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. They're like, that was all right. I was like really low budget. Well, you want me to do it better? Well, give me some damn more money and I can do it better. It's all you gotta have the money.
Yes, for sure.
So it's a pretty legit story.
Yeah. Now this film won't be for everybody. Now, we have a little bit of puking at first there. I was like, oh, is this what it's going to be?
That's what I thought too. That's where I was like, oh, it's going to be one of these.
Yeah, that's what
but it's waiting for somebody to start pissing in somebody else's mouth.
Right. Now we do have the horse scene with the transsexual, the horse scene. That probably won't be for everybody. And then there's a scene where they're all on the mushrooms, naked, tripping out and stuff. So there's a few extreme scenes, but overall, it's not. I wouldn't say it's an extreme movie.
It's not too extreme.
I don't think it's not all for shock value for sure. Because they're telling a story. It is a story to be told here. So I don't know. I did like it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I mean, I didn't really know anything going into it other than literally the title, but I'd kind of already made up my mind that this is not going to be as good as I think it's going to be. But I was pretty impressed with it. Honestly.
Well, that's good. That's good. If you went in with that mindset, that's really good. You're like, it's going to be one of these, but you ended up liking it, so that's really good. I'd say it's not one. I probably won't ever watch it again, but it was nowhere near as bad as what I thought it was going to be. So,
yeah. I probably will. Watch it again.
Okay.
Down the line, not next week.
Not next week. It might be one of those that if you watch it a second time too, you'll probably pick up on a lot more.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. So, I don't want to go into everything I've been watching because it's so much.
Yeah,
what about you? What have you been watching?
Quite a few things, but I'll do a few here. One of the things I watched was a little movie called When the Screaming Starts.
When the Screaming Starts.
Yeah. When Norman is invited to the home of an inspiring serial killer, he believes he has the subject of the documentary that will make his career. Now, what does that sound like? Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon. Yeah. And then, it's nowhere near as good as that movie, though. I mean, it's kind of the same premise, to be honest. Sort of.
And it's called Behind the Screams?
No, this is called When the Screaming Starts.
Oh, When the Screaming Starts.
Yeah, but it's kind of like Behind the Mask,
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near as good. It'd be hard to do that. I think I had that on my list on our last podcast, but that's always going to be a favorite of mine, I think. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, any movie in that vein is going to be compared to that movie, and it would be hard to top. But I mean, it was an okay movie. It just wasn't great or anything. Up next was The Executioners. This was a little sort of revenge movie. Very, very low budget. Not too bad though. Honestly, I didn't hate it. 4 female friends are held hostage by unknown intruders, but as the women fight back, will they get a taste for the violence? Just kind of a revenge movie with a little twist at the end, though. But not too bad. Up next was a rewatch of Bad Biology. Now, you like body horror. You seen this movie?
No, but I did. I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw that you were watching it. on Slasher.
Mhm.
I saw that you posted that's what you're watching. So I went and looked up the trailer and I was like, I'm gonna put this movie. I swear to God, I have this movie on my list.
Okay, yeah. I think this is a movie you should watch because you love the body horror stuff, and this is definitely that. It's by the guy who did Frankenhooker. Not as good as that movie. It's still charming. I mean, it's a little silly to be taken. You can't take it too seriously because it is pretty silly. But I mean, it reminds me very much of Trauma, that sort of stuff.
I like those though. They're like kind of trashy horror movies, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that about the Trauma movies.
Yeah, me too. It's been a while since I saw this, but I mean, I like it. I don't love it. I do love Frankenhooker, but I don't love it. But it is enjoyable. So I think you should just give it a go and see what you think.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say that I love. I finally got on this app called Slasher. I had no idea that you were on there, but I love it because I have notifications turned on for you. So every time you post that you're watching something, it'll like pop up on my phone. And I'll be like, what's Mike watching tonight?
Yeah. That's kind of how I keep up with what I've been watching. I post on there usually. If it's a horror movie, if I watch something else, I don't put it on there.
Yeah, really smart. If you're on Slasher, check us out. I'm Circus Gal, of course. And you can find Mike on there under Faux Pas. Right? Is it just faux pas? Is it faux pas films?
I think it's faux pas. I think it's just faux pas. Maybe I don't know for sure.
Yeah, cool.
So up next was a little film called Here for Blood.
Here for Blood.
Yeah, peaceful evening becomes bloody, violent chaos. Masked intruders descend upon Tom and Grace's home, and the couple fight for their lives. So this was like a babysitter. She was babysitting this kid, and then she has her boyfriend babysit. And then all these intruders come, and he has to fight them off. This was actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed this one. It's pretty gory.
Yeah,
a lot of good kills and scenes like that. So nothing like over the top as far as like intelligence or anything, but just a fun fight, stomping, gory movie.
Here for Blood.
Here for Blood. That one's on Screenbox.
Okay.
Yeah. Up next was a little low-budget film called Skinned Alive from 2008. This movie wasn't that great. I feel like this movie is, for one thing, it's mistitled. It's titled wrong. And also the poster is definitely wrong. Because, Skinned Alive, you think, I don't know. It's Skinned Alive. It's about this girl who's a cannibal, but she doesn't skin anybody, and it's nothing like that. And it's just about this girl who's a cannibal, and she gets this boyfriend, and he learns about it. You've seen the story before. It's not really that completely original. It wasn't that great. Up next was Lover's Lane from 1999 or 2000, depending on where you look. A slasher movie. A man who committed a series of murders 13 years ago begins to hunt down their victims' children. So this was a slasher movie, very much in the vein of the 80s, even though it came out a decade later. Pretty good.
It doesn't sound like a horror movie. It sounds like a
like
a romance movie or something.
Right, and there are plenty of romance movies named that, so you have to be careful what you're watching. This one's got Anna Faris in it.
It's got who in it?
Anna Faris. Remember that girl from the Scary Movies?
Oh, for real? Oh, okay. I actually just pulled it up. The cover's cool. It's. I just put it up on Slasher where you're watching it, but the cover looks cool. Is that a hook?
That's a hook. Yes.
Yes,
that is a hook.
Lover's Lane, like the old what do you call it?
Urban Legend, right?
Urban Legend, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent slash. The middle, there's a middle where there's a lot of big lull in it. I feel like there's a big lull in the middle. But as far as the slashing part of it, it's pretty typical. But again, it's very much a throwback to the 80s kind of a deal.
Oh, that's kind of cool though. I'll have to go check that out. It's just my dad. I always had this thing when I was a kid. My dad used to tell me all these stories about a hook man when I was little, and for the longest time, I thought there was this, villain out there, the hook man. So I love all the horror characters with the hook because it kind of It's kind of nostalgia. I was like, oh, the Hook Man. You know, it's funny.
Yeah. It's worth checking out. Again, it's about half and half. I mean, it's pretty boring in the middle, but once you get past that, it's
In
not
the
bad.
middle?
Yeah,
In
the middle. There's just not a lot going on there.
That's
For
like
some reason,
usually starts off slow. The ending was terrible, but you're like, no, the middle was terrible.
the middle is just kind of boring. Yeah. Up next, a rewatch of the WNUF Halloween special. Have you seen this movie?
No, I saw where you were watching it, and I was like, what is this?
I absolutely love this movie. I don't. So this one is set in the 80s, and it's just so fun. It's not gory. There's nothing like that. It's a mock television broadcast, so it's filled with commercials. A lot of them fake, and a lot of them are just like vintage ones that the director pulled. But it's just great. I know. I don't know how to explain it to you. It's just like watching a program for Halloween when you were a kid in the 80s.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, so I see the back of it says it's Halloween in your VCR.
Yes.
It's so gnarly.
Yes. And like it just cuts to commercial all the time, and it goes, "You're watching the NWF Halloween special." You know, it's so fun. I mean, the dedication that the director did to make this look authentic is pretty amazing. So I do love it. Again, you can't watch it for gore or anything like that. It's not that kind of a movie, but it's just fun. It's just if you grew up in the 80s and you watched stuff like the Midnight Hour and stuff that they used to show back on TV back in the day, then you'll like this, I think.
What year? Do you know what year it came out?
So it came out in 2013.
Oh, no shit. So looking at the cover, I'm like, it looks like an 80s movie.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, totally. But it came out 2013. It was really, and the marketing was really weird. I think he just left some tapes or VCRs at conventions and something. Like, it was just really weird, the marketing of it. But word of mouth really spread on that movie. So I really recommend it. I don't know. It was on Shudder a while back. I don't know if it still is or not, but it's a really good movie. And then they did a sequel. And I tell you, it took me a long time to track this one down. You can't really find it anywhere online. Had to purchase a copy from the director.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
was it worth tracking him down?
Yeah, it was. It's not as good as the original, but it's the same vein. This one is set in the 90s, and same premise though. It's just it's a little different because where that one was more like a TV broadcast and then went into like sort of, it still kind of was a TV broadcast. This one starts out and it's like a talk show. So they do like the talk show first, then they do a little bit of a news thing, and then they go into this thing called Out There, which is more like like those old this is about aliens. So those old sort of alien shows about like tonight on so and so, let's see if Bigfoot exists, that kind of stuff. So this is Out There, Halloween mega tape. And again, this one came out in 2022, but it's set in the 90s. And again, these great commercials. And he goes through so much length. He even created this guy who put it out, who's like kind of a guy who does pirated movies. He created this whole guy. He even does a commentary as this guy. I mean, the lengths he goes to make this authentic, I love it. But yeah,
that's cool. And the second one came out in 2002, so it's really not that old. It came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, 2022. So that one came out. Yeah, this is not, but hard to find though. Yeah, a few copies out in the wild, but yeah, I could not stream it anywhere, so I don't think it is anywhere. So, but fun stuff. If you like the first one, you probably will like it. Again, I didn't like it as good as the first one, but I did enjoy it. And then the last thing I will talk about is I did a rewatch of Subspecies. Have you seen these movies?
I don't think I've even heard of them.
Subspecies. You know Full Moon Features, Charles Band and all that.
Oh yeah, of course.
The Puppet Masters and all that. Well, obviously Puppet Masters and some of those are some of his bigger movies, but this was pretty big back in the day. Subspecies. This was his vampire movies that he did. Subspecies 1, 2, and 3. I've seen all of them before. The first one I think is definitely the best one, but I mean they're pretty good. I mean, they're a little slow by today's standards for sure, you know. And the CGI is terrible, absolutely terrible in them. But that's okay. That's okay because the vampire is pretty cool, you know. And back in the day, I loved vampire movies, loved them, and I watched these on like VHS and stuff back in the day, you know. So definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen them. You can find those pretty much anywhere online. But they've done 5 now. So I've seen 4. I've not seen the 5th one. The 5th one's actually newer. They released that just like maybe a year or 2 ago. So I haven't seen that one. It might be even better. I don't know. Because, you know, the Puppet Master one that they did with a little bit bigger budget, that one was pretty good. I don't know if you saw that one or not. But that one was like pretty decent. Like a lot different than the old school stuff. So, but yeah, I do like these movies. They're cheesy as hell for sure. They are.
Sometimes cheesy's good though. It's good to throw mixes in there, so you're not constantly watching something dark. That's why The Babysitter. It was funny. Sometimes I like to throw them horror comedies in there. You know.
Yes. Yeah. Other than that, though, obviously you laugh over Porno Gang and stuff like that. So that's all I got. You ready to talk to Joe?
Yeah, let's talk to him.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Tonight we have a very special guest. We have Joe DeBartolo. Joe is an actor and a producer. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, how you doing?
Joe. It's been a while, my man. It's good to hear your voice. What's going on?
Good to hear you, Mike. Good to hear you.
Absolutely. Now
nice to meet you, Bridget.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. We're so excited. You know, I had no idea. I've seen several of the films you've been in, and I had no idea. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I know you and Mike have worked together before, right? Several times.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been in 4 of his features, and we did a bunch of goofy little things too, like that Phantom in the Woods and
Phantom in the Woods, Hands of Fate.
Hands of whatever Fate.
Yeah, Dirty Sanchez was maybe the first thing we worked together on.
Yeah, but that was more of a Cooney film, I think.
It was. But
that's where you're right. That's where I met you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay. So, Dirty Sanchez, and so I've seen a couple off the top of my head. Candy's Harem, seen it so many times. I didn't realize that was you. And then Cellar Secret, which is probably my favorite out of all the faux pas films. And you had a pretty crazy character.
Yeah, well, you know, I didn't write it, Mike. But it was definitely a crazy character. You know, religious zealot, and if you don't mind, I don't know, can we get into the what the film's about? Because there's, you know, it's just a nasty movie, and
yeah, it is.
You know. Kidnapping, bondage, incest, rape. Hey, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yep.
Fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
From the mind of Mike.
What I love about that movie is when you're first watching it, you're like, oh, it's a happy family.
Yeah,
you
it starts off like a Lifetime movie or something. Yeah.
Right.
Even though the opening credits are so beautiful.
I know. It was really, really great. So I watched that with my boyfriend, and he was like, he doesn't watch a lot of the things I watch, and he's like, oh, I don't like this. Oh, this is so dark. And then when we watched the bonus features, you know, some just behind the scenes stuff, and you guys were having fun and laughing. He was like, oh, it's so different like when you see behind the scenes, you know. And
yeah, we were having fun, all right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Long days though. Those were some long days. Some of them were. Yeah.
Now the real star of Cellar Secret is the cellar. I'm sorry. That was I cannot believe what a perfect location that was.
Yeah.
It was perfect. I think we've talked about that before, Mike, at some point. I was like, wow, that was like the perfect location to film. It was really good. Really good.
It was, because we got to use the cellar and we got to use the upstairs, and they also had all these religious trinkets that they let us use. I mean, I brought a few, but they had like tons there already. So some of it was just point and shoot, really.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it worked out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could have made more movies like that because I feel like overall it did go very well. I mean, the sound is pretty good, honestly, overall. Always had a lot of sound issues on a lot of my movies. Most of the sound is pretty good on that movie. Where we only had the one location mainly, I mean, there wasn't a lot of packing up and going and we filmed it in, what, was it 2 weekends or 3 weekends? It was really quick.
The stuff in Walnut,
Was-
Illinois.
Yeah. That was 2 weekends.
The stuff
wasn't
in
it?
Walnut was 2 weekends, and then we filmed some stuff at your house too.
Yeah, a little bit of random stuff, but like the main meat of the movie was filmed there in 2 weekends. So I mean, I think that helped a lot. Being able to stay in one location. And
Well,
shoot it off.
I mean, I appreciated you giving me that role. I mean, it's a bizarre and weird role, and it's not like anything I had done up to that point. And then you made me have a Southern accent too, which was
Oh wow.
interesting. But between you and Michelle, you were able to tell me how to talk.
So was that difficult? Did you have a hard time with with your character? Just because I mean,
No.
I know there was a lot of uncomfortable situations. If you go and watch the bonus features, I remember specifically just some behind the scenes footage where you look over at Mike and you're like, "What do you want me to do?" And Mike says, "You rape her."
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
Well, I mean, I kind of figured out how to do that, but the hardest thing, believe it or not, for me was reading out of the Bible.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because I mean, he had a few pages where he wanted me to read, and then sometimes I just opened the book and started reading, and I didn't know what I was getting into. And reading the Bible is not the easiest thing to do. And I mean, like, even when we were filming with your baby, when I'm standing over the baby and I'm reading out of the Bible,
Yeah.
That's the most difficult thing of the movie for me, was reading out of the Bible.
Right. Yeah. There was quite a few passages there that we had to incorporate.
But it worked out. And I think overall the acting is really good. I'm not going to mention any names, but there were a couple that were a little wooden. But me and Portia and Derek
Cook, yeah.
Cook, yeah, and what was who played the preacher? Scott. I think the four of us did great.
Yeah,
I mean, I think all the way through was very believable. I think we did a good job, but then there were a couple people who kind of ruined it for me anyway.
Oh.
Well, there was a couple of last minute recasts and stuff.
That always happens. It always happens.
Mike, you should have been the sheriff, man.
Probably. Yeah.
And by the way, if you want to see this movie, you can check it out on Faux Pas. You can. It's for purchase at fauxpasfilms.com. FAUXPASFILMS.com.
Yeah. Buy it.
You should definitely buy the Blu-ray. But if you have no player, you can actually just watch it on Tubi.
It's on Tubi, yeah.
But they want to buy it because they definitely want to see the bonus features.
It's on Prime too, but you got to pay for it on Prime.
It's on Prime. It's on Plex. It's on Cineverse, and maybe a few others. A few of those smaller ones, yeah.
Cool. So what do you think? What was your favorite character or your favorite film that you've been in?
Oh, well, that's. I mean, I've been in hundreds of movies, so that's kind of difficult. Though I won't count the earlier one or anything up through the 1970s and 80s and that stuff, because it was so long ago. But there were some fun roles back then too. Recently, actually, I'm very excited about my latest role, which is I'm the lead in a feature film called Torture the Flesh.
Right, that's Derek's.
Now, how's that for a horror title?
Yeah, that's a good one.
We're still in the editing process. I watched a rough cut of it last week. I went out to Elburn Illinois, and watched. It was 147 minutes, and it was tight. I mean, it's going to be tough to make any changes. We wrote down, we jotted down some ideas and turned it over to the editor, and we're going to see. Then we got to have the score made, but the look of it and the feel of it's exactly what we wanted. And so I'm very thrilled to be that character. I don't want to tell you too much because I don't want to give away. It's a grimy, gritty crime slasher, gore fest. Man, it's amazing. And we want people guessing who the killer is. So
who's the director of that movie?
Derek
That's
Ross.
what I thought. I was like, I feel like we've talked about this movie before. I knew it. Okay, awesome. Yeah, he's really cool. So you've worked with him a lot then.
I worked with Derek. I've done 11 films with Derek.
Damn, that's
but
awesome.
This is my first feature with him. All the other ones were short films.
Oh, cool. And you mentioned it. You mentioned a few minutes ago. You said, I'm not going to mention anything from like the 70s or the 80s. I'm like, damn, how long have you been acting?
Yeah, let's go back. Let's go back.
Yeah.
What got you started in it, Joe? Like what started you making or acting or making movies? Because you used to make your own other movie, your own, right?
Yeah. I always loved films. I mean, especially horror films, but I don't know. Growing up, I would watch the old Universal horror films on TV. Bride of Frankenstein being my favorite of that group, and then of course King Kong, the RKO 1933 film, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 1932 at Frederick Marx from Paramount. Those are amazing films. When I was little, I mean, the first film that I saw at a movie theater was Rodan, a Japanese Daikaiju from Toho from 1957. I was 4 years old. My father took me to see Rodan.
Dude, cool dad.
So I've been he liked monsters and horror, and he got me into it, and I got my kids into it. But yeah, then in the 60s, I would watch the local PBS station, and they would show silent films, and I was impressed with the storytelling process and the acting, or overacting, really, in silent films. So I decided to try to make my own silent movie. So I borrowed my father's 8mm Bell and Howell movie camera, and that was the beginning. In fact, the second movie I ever made was a horror film, and I played a monster, and I killed my 8-year-old sister.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
Good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 1969 is when I started my own production company. I was 15 years old, but it didn't matter. I just had the love of making movies and really got involved. And for the next 15 years, I made like 200 movies. Shorts and feature films, and then videos when video equipment came out, and made a few documentaries too. But I was cranking them out, baby.
That's awesome. A lot of people we talk to on the podcast, a lot of people tell us, they're like, man, I knew when I was like really, really little that is what I wanted to do. And I think that's really great that you fulfilled your passion and went on to try to make these movies on your own at 15 years old. That's really great.
Yeah, I got started. I mean, I never made any money at it, but that's not why I was doing it.
Right.
I was doing it for the love of film. So, yeah. I even took. I was doing some extra work in the 80s too, when because there was a lot of film work, TV work in Chicago always.
Right.
And so I did some extra work. And, not any horror films, though. Sorry.
I love all you guys from Chicago. Like, I feel like I'm part of like the horror Chicago family. I was like, I love talking to you guys. So you're based out of Chicago then?
Yeah,
right?
I'm based out of Chicago, and I don't really, I don't try for roles out of town. I mean, other than neighboring suburbs, or I mean, I'll go to like Wisconsin or Indiana or something, but I won't go too far.
Yeah.
I'm getting old, man.
Nah.
But there's a great collection of filmmakers in Chicago and the area, and horror is an accepted genre, and it's got a built-in audience, so that's what we end up making the most.
Yeah, cool.
Works for me. That's what I like anyway, so works for me. What about festivals and stuff? They still tons of festivals up there. You're still going to a lot of those?
There are less festivals that I'm interested in. There was a stretch there for about 6 years where I was a judge for all these film festivals. I did the Real Horror Fest and the Chicago Horror Fest and the Hardcore Horror Fest. I mean, and then other ones like Real Cinema and Real Doc Fest and Cinema Soup, Real Comedy Fest. But the horror ones are what I was drawn to, and it was great to be a judge because you got to see all these bizarre films that you don't you wouldn't normally have a chance to see.
Yeah,
and turned me on to some good filmmakers.
Did you say you were a judge? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
I worked as a film fest judge for about 6 years.
Oh, that's really fun. That's fun. You get to see a lot of movies that you may not have picked out to watch, or that's really fun.
Right. And the thing with that is you have to watch all of them. Some of them are stinkers, but there's some really good ones, some class films out there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, probably met a lot of cool people too. I bet a lot of cool directors, writers.
Well, in my area, I tend to work with some of the same directors and writers over and over, but that's because they just write a script and offer me a role, and I don't have to audition, and I don't have to search them out. They search me out, so it's real easy for me.
Right.
I mean, like, okay, I made 4 films with Faux Pas, Mike, and I was like, Andre Boyd. I've made 6 films with him, and 11 with Chivis for Derek. So I mean, they're not the only people I work with, but it's nice to have people send you a script and say, "Do you want to do this? You want to do this?" Yeah.
Well, I think
my only limits now are if I have health issues, and if I can't physically handle a role, I just have to turn it down. But they understand that.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I think the reason that happens is because when you are making independent films, things can go wrong real quickly, and people that don't show up and commit themselves to it, that happens so often that when you find people that are committed, you really want to stick with them. You want to work with them again. So when you find a role that works for them, you always want to give them the first crack at it, because those are the people that you can count on, you can trust, and you're one of those, Joe. So I can understand why people be like, let's bring Joe in every time, because they know he's gonna give his all, give the performance, and be there. Not just like, oh, I can't make it, because I'm doing something else. I don't want to. Last minute, which has happened to me. I'm not going to be there. 5 minutes before.
I know how many times have we sat around waiting for somebody to show up only to find out they weren't coming at all.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I do a little bit of dabble in a little bit of acting, but that is the worst. When all your actors are sitting around forever waiting on one. Yeah, person.
Right. I mean, even for when we were working on Leaf Blower Massacre 2, the special effects people never showed up. We were there all day.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know you were in that. You were in that one too?
Oh, yeah. I'm the bum.
Yeah,
okay.
He's the bum.
Okay. Yeah. So I just watched that not too long ago. So
it was a fun role. I was eating garbage out of the garbage can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna have to go back and watch these now.
Yeah, watch it again.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away any secrets, but I brought my own garbage to eat. Okay, it's not like I actually dug it out of the garbage bin.
I don't know, Joe, if this has been released, if Anthony's officially told people, but the Dirty Sanchez and Leaf Blower Massacre 2 is now been released on Blu-ray.
Oh wow!
Yep.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Courtesy of moi, he gave me all the material and we put them on Blu-ray. So yeah, the cover for Dirty Sanchez looks pretty cool. Ask him about it.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I haven't talked to him since he, I don't know, retired.
Well, he has twin daughters now. We didn't even know that.
Yeah, so I didn't know that until I listened to your podcast with him.
Yeah.
Your podcasts are very informative.
That's what everyone says. Like, hey, if I'm having a hard time like looking for a movie to watch, I'll just get on your podcast and see what you guys have been watching. I love that. That always makes me feel so good. I get text messages, seriously, at like 8 a.m. from people going, "Oh my God, I just listened to your podcast." And I'm like, that is so cool. That makes me so happy. So and we appreciate all our listeners, and glad you came on here to talk to us. I think it's really, really great. And thank you for listening.
Yeah, I know. Mike asked me a long time ago, like right when you guys were getting started. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do a podcast. I mean, what am I going to talk about? You know? And then when I seen you did Cooney and then you did Derek Brush, I'm like, well, maybe I can do it. So here I am.
That's awesome. We've come a long way. We've come a long way in 3 years, I feel like.
Yeah. You got tons of experience on your belt, Joe, to talk about. Speaking of that, let's talk about some of what are some of the like things that stand out to you in filmmaking, like maybe a really high point, maybe a really low point, maybe like a really shitty day or a really, really good day. Can you think of anything that just pops into your head?
Oh God. Well, for me, the final product is always what gives me the thrill. You know,
Sure.
Going through the theater, seeing it on a big screen, that just blows me away. I mean, that's what it's all for me. I was like, this is what I wanted since I was a little kid. And what's cool is, you know, I go to theaters that I went to as a child to see films playing. And now, I mean, not so much now, but 10 years ago or 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I'd be going to the same theaters to see my films up on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And to see yourself up there, that's a high point for me. As far as acting goes, you know, I am totally blown away that I was able to pull off Cellar Secret. That 45 pages of dialogue, and we got through it pretty good, and it's believable, and I'm pleased. I was so pleased that I took that role. Now, Mike, I don't know if you remember, but we were supposed to shoot it in April, but I was having heart issues.
Yes.
And instead of replacing me, you just postponed it, and we started doing it in August, and I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, we were just about to go into production. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, you know, I had no control over that. So
yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That was really cool of you, Mike. Really cool of you.
That was definitely cool of him, and he's great to work with. I love working with him. We did a film called Hematic Web, in which we really worked close together and with a lot of it, and I think it came out pretty good myself. It's kind of an anthology. There's like segments and a wraparound, and I think it's pretty cool. The gore effects are pretty good. I will never forget getting my throat slit in your bedroom and having it pretty much cover your wall.
Oh my God!
And ceiling. I mean, it just shot out how much pressure you had.
Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know.
That was filmed where? In your bedroom, Mike?
Yeah, downstairs from where I lived in Elmwood Park up there. That's probably still on that wall, I will tell you. I spent all night scrubbing that, trying to get that off.
Yeah.
It wasn't going nowhere.
I can't believe you like filmed this scene in your bedroom with like fake blood, because that's
now
crazy.
It was supposed to go one way. All right.
Yeah.
It was supposed to go one way. It didn't. All right. That's just one of those times. It did not go the. I mean, it worked. It worked.
It worked. It exploded. It went crazy.
but it definitely did not go the way because I had a lot of stuff. I remember I had like a lot of tarps and stuff down on the bed or something. I was waiting for it to go there. Yeah, not on the ceiling was I thinking it was going to go. So yeah, it was not planned that way. But
so your throat was slit and there's blood on the ceiling. Like
it shot out. I had the tube or whatever on my neck, and when he pushed the button for it to shoot out, it just went all the way across the room and up into the ceiling in the corner of the bedroom.
Yeah, because there was so much pressure, and this happened twice. This happened actually in Brimstone Creek Road too. Since there's so much pressure, the hose just moves. So there was, and we did it again in Brimstone Creek Road. There's like a coda epilogue end scene in Brimstone Creek Road, and there is this girl who cuts herself, and then blood comes. So the guy that I had doing it then, it was just a friend of mine that we were actually on his land, and he was holding it, and I again didn't warn him, I guess. So when I said go, it went, instead of going on her, which it went a little on her, but mostly went on me.
Oh no.
Yeah, mostly all over me and the camera.
And for mine, what Caitlin didn't want to get bloody that day, remember?
Yeah. Well,
And she ended up getting covered in it.
covered. She was covered.
Oh, man.
And which movie was that?
Hematic Web.
Hematic Web. I'm gonna go back and watch it again. I'm like,
Yeah, you got to watch that
they're
one.
talking about.
You know, you're just going to have a faux pas fest, man.
Yep, for sure. That is so
Yeah.
crazy.
So back to your question, low points for me are always when I work on a film, do my part, and then it never gets completed or released.
Right.
Or it does get released and my scenes were cut. Nothing upsets me more than that.
Have you ever had your scene get completely cut out of the thing where you're not even in it at all?
Yep.
Yeah, that has to suck.
Yeah,
now, So the guy now is selling Blu-rays, and he said my scene will be on the deleted scenes if I want to buy one. It's like, no thanks.
Yeah, that's got to be hard, especially.
I show up, I do my job. You know, there wasn't a problem. I handled it the way it was supposed to be done, and then I'm no longer in the film.
Well, the way I see it is like, I know they do it on Hollywood pictures and stuff. Sometimes they cut things for time or whatever reason, but these people they get paid pretty generously for it anyway. So it's like, okay, well, I got paid, so whatever. But if you're doing an independent film, you're, like you said, you're showing up, you're giving your time, you're giving, everything. I would never cut anybody out. It's like I feel honored that you're there to be in this film. I would never try to short you in that way.
Well, it ended up being a long film, and they wanted to cut, but my scene was like 7.5 minutes, and they cut it completely.
Yeah, they could maybe trim it down some, but cutting completely.
Well, I mean, they could have cut 7.5 minutes of the girl screaming. She screams through the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, there's that.
I'm sorry, language.
That's fine. I hate movies where like the Babadook. Like I like the movie, but that kid screaming just kills me. So and I watched the movie not long ago where a girl was just screaming constantly, and I'm like, shut up.
It's how I feel about Mia Goth. I'm like, oh, her voice makes me cringe. Ugh.
And I know what you mean, Joe, about working on. I've worked on some things too, not my projects, but I've helped people, like shot, the footage or whatever with products that never saw the light of day. I acted in one movie, never saw the light of day, stuff like that. I mean, it does. It's
I've got probably 30, 40 movies that I worked on that were never released.
Oh, wow. That is a lot.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. Filmmaking is hard work. It's hard to do. I mean, it is. And I think some people do bite off more than they can chew. They're not really sure what they're getting themselves into when they're making a movie. But I don't know. I just feel like, look, if I start the movie, I'm going to find some way to finish it. It might not be my original vision completely, but I'm going to finish that movie. I'm going to do whatever I can. I mean, this day and age, I don't really feel like there's no excuse for it. It's like, come on, just finish it.
Yep. Especially when you have a lot of people that put a lot of work into it, and so Joe, I completely understand where you're coming from on that. My first big lead role, I spent hours and hours and hours, and that was 3 years ago, I think. And I don't know if it'll ever get released or not, but it does suck because you want to see the final product. You want to see the final, and you want to see it on the big screen, all that work that you did, and so I completely understand that for sure.
Yeah, at least have it get released. I mean, whether it makes a film festival circuit or if it gets released anywhere, but I mean, give me a DVD or a Blu-ray or something. I don't have to see it at the theater if you don't want to have a premiere, but put it out there.
Yeah, right. Speaking of Blu-rays, DVDs, we always ask this question to most people. You like physical copies, right?
Yes, I do. I'm old, man.
Well, so am I. So how do you feel about this new age of streaming and all that?
Well, I do that too, but
sure.
I still, if I'm in the film, I want a actual copy of it in my hand. Mm-hmm. If it's a film that a big production that is released, if I love it, I'll buy the Blu-ray because I like the extras. I am big on watching every extra piece of everything that's on every Blu-ray. There can't be too much information for me.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Oh, love the bonus features. It really is a bonus. It's always like, especially when you watch a really good movie, you're like, ooh, I want to go watch the bonus features. I'm such a nerd like that. Like, that's one of my favorite things about physical copies.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm. I never would have saw that awkward conversation between you and Mike where you asked him what to do. He said, raper.
Well, I don't remember that. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's such a casual conversation. You're like, what do you want me to do? Mike's like, raper. I was like, that is funny. Yeah. Do you remember that, Mike? Or not?
I mean, I don't, but I get in my smart ass attitude sometimes on set where I'm just kind of goofy.
Yeah, Mike, that's your answer to everything.
Saying silly shit. But that does sound like something I would say. So yeah. I'm sure it was.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's awesome. Y'all seem to work really well together. I love your work, Joe. It's like I had no idea that I've seen that many of your movies. Now I'm gonna go back and watch all of them, look for you. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I do look different in, most of them, but it's me. Definitely me.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's the one that you said that just went into editing?
Torture of the Flesh.
Torture of the Flesh. So we're gonna be looking for this one for sure.
Yeah. Well, it should. I was hoping for a spring release, but it looks like it's going to be a little later, just because we're still editing, and then we got to do the score and color correcting and all that. But definitely this year.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I don't know if you know this or not, but I've seen many of your movies because I do the DVDs for Derek. I don't know if you know that or not, but I author all those DVDs of all those movies. So I ended up seeing almost all those movies that you were in with him.
Yeah. Well, some of these short ones, I mean, I have tiny little roles in them, but that's fine. I mean, I'm still in them. I still get a credit. I'm happy. You know, we've been doing these anthologies for Phil Herman.
Yeah.
And, so 4 of the short films, or well, 3 so far, and a 4th one coming up that I'm doing for Chivis, ended up they're all on anthology films. So
Yeah.
you got Horror Tales 666 Part 2 and Part 3, and then Doomsday Stories, and a good one coming up. We haven't filmed our short film for it yet, but it's called Unearthed, and that should be a good one.
Well, I will see that too, because I'm actually working on the DVDs for that anthology as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, it's great. And with the anthology, I get 2 credits because I'm in the short film and then I'm also in the anthology. I'm a credit whore.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Now, Joe, you used to make your own movies back in the day. You made quite a few, Beyond the Edge and stuff like that. You ever think about making any movies yourselves again?
I would love to. I would love to direct. I've written a few scripts, but I have no equipment and I wouldn't know how to use the equipment or do the editing or anything. It's all a new world for me out there. I mean, back when I was doing it, it was pretty simple. But yeah,
you were shooting on film though. How was that more simple?
I love shooting on film and cutting and splicing. You know, I mean, the editing was an actual process. Put it together. I mean, editing was very important when you're working with film. I mean, it is now too, but it seems like when it's digital, it might be easier to do. I don't know.
I would say
what do I know?
I would think definitely easier to do. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you've like pretty much done you've done right. Have you? I mean, so you've done writing, acting, producing, directing. What is your editing? What's your favorite part about making film? What's your favorite part?
Well, I used to like directing, but I mean, I'm an actor now. That's what I list first on my like cards, or if I do anything. I think on IMDb I'm listed as an actor first. I like acting, so no role is too small. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
If I can physically handle it, I'll do it. I'll be there.
Cool. All right.
I don't know if I could handle 45 pages of dialogue anymore, but
and no more Bible verses.
so Cellar Secret Part 2. Cellar Secret Part 2.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I didn't. I didn't make it out of that unscathed.
We'll find a way. They always find a way to bring them back.
Yeah. Well, Joe, we really appreciate you coming on here, and I know you're on social media, because we follow each other on social media. But for our listeners, why don't you tell them where they can find you on social media in case they want to check you out?
Oh, I'm on the basics. I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Well, X, pardon me, and IMDb, and they're all under my name, just Joe DeBartolo or Joe DeBartolo, however you want to pronounce it. I'll answer to both. Yeah, I mean, go out there, check out my IMDb. I think I've got about 120 films listed on there. I made so many, but you can't put all those old little films out there. That's ridiculous. They were never released or anything. But
yeah. So Joe, one last question. You've done all these roles. You've done so many roles, over 100. Is there any role that you haven't done yet, that you have not been a part of? Like, I really would like to do this.
Ooh, good question.
Not the role itself, but I would like to do a film in which it's more of a reaction, more of an acting without dialogue kind of role.
It's more like expression without words.
Yeah. I mean, words are fine, but I think I'm. I consider myself like a character actor now. I'm really, except for the fact that I'm the lead in Torture the Flesh. I'm not usually the lead in a film anymore, and I like having these character roles in which I can sink my teeth into. But I would like to do something in which I'm just going through the film and just being like I would be if I was alone. Just
Are we talking about like more like an art house kind of a film, kind of a thing, or?
Yeah, I don't know, like the old black and white art films and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
French New Wave and the Italian films from the early '60s, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, mention that to some of your directors.
I was talking about that to a director just a couple weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Well,
Nice.
maybe that'll happen. Maybe
that will happen for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think that'd be that'd be harder to do. But you've done enough acting where you could pull it off.
Yeah,
really great. You pull it off well.
That's what I want to try. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Joe. Well, thanks for coming on, man. We look forward to seeing all the stuff that you're going to be doing upcoming.
Well, there's stuff's out there. I don't know. You remember? I don't know. You're cutting me. We stuck for time here, but remember when we did that Horror Society presents the Cellar Secret and the Killer Pinata at the bucket of blood book and records? Well, I'm in the sequel. I'm in Bride of the Killer Pinata, and I have a good role in that. And thanks to Stephen Tramontana and the Angry Mule Films, that is, I believe, free on Tubi if you want to watch it.
Oh, is it already out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Oh, nice. And what was it? What was it called?
Bride of the Killer Pinata.
The first one
of the Killer Pinata.
The first one was really funny. It was well done. Yeah.
And you don't have to see the first one to enjoy this one, but the first one is also out there on Tubi if you want to watch that one also. So,
yeah.
All right, very cool.
So, yeah, okay. Thank you so much for putting me on here.
Sure, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and make sure to check out Joe DeBartolo. How did I do? Did I say your last name right?
That's fine. Mike, you got to make another movie. I'm in it.
Cool.
Well, can convince Bridget, and we'll get it going.
Well, I don't know why he's putting it back on me.
Bridget's the lead actress, so we have to get her to commit.
All right, guys.
All right, take care.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, Joe DeBartolo, Joe the man of many names.
Wow, Joe's been busy for a long time. Wow.
Yeah,
wow. He's been what do you say? Over 200 movies.
200. Well, he did so many movies by himself back in the day, and because he's got over 100 credits on IMDb. So, always working, always doing stuff, always making movies. And he is right. There's a lot of filmmakers up in Chicago, man, that they really always pumping out something. So you can, if you're an actor, working actor, you can always probably find a gig. Up there, because there's so much. That was a great experience for me. Is being able to find actors up there, with ease. I mean, sometimes it wouldn't work out, but most times you would be able to find what you needed.
Yeah, we've talked to a lot of people from Chicago that you've worked with, and I had no idea that there was that many independent horror filmmakers there, or people into it. Like Nashville, you would think Nashville being such a big city, but Nashville's really where I live, but it's really known for music.
It's known for music. There are filmmakers there. I've known a few, and I'm sure there's a lot that I don't know, but it's definitely not the high point,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing about there, because they do have a lot of festivals there. He said there were maybe a little less than there used to be, but there was tons of festivals when I was there. Not just horror though, but also like comedy and drama. There was just festivals all the time that you could submit to or be a part of and stuff like that. There's really not that much in Nashville. Obviously, they had the Nashville Film Fest. They have a few, but it's just not as plentiful.
Yeah, definitely not. And and as far as like horror conventions, you got Full Moon, but there's not really a lot now this year.
Well, the conventions. There's a lot more. There are
in Nashville.
Not just Tennessee itself, the surrounding areas.
In Tennessee, you even have like one in Crossville. That's the craziest thing.
No, we don't have one in Crossville.
Is it not Crossville? Is that not where FrankenCon's at? I thought it was Crossville.
No. FrankenCon's in Alcoa, which is pretty close to Knoxville.
Oh, I don't know where the hell I was getting Crossville. I was like, you got a convention like right down the street from you. That's the crazy. I don't know why I thought that. That's so funny.
There's no conventions in Crossville, but there's one. There's one coming up in Kingsford. And of course, Chattanooga is always having stuff too. Knoxville itself does.
Tennessee as a whole, Nashville. You would think there would be a lot more in Nashville.
Well, Nashville has obviously the big one, like you said, with Ben Dixon's, but they used to have a horror and Comic Con thing. So, there used to, and there is another one, right? There's a new one popped up.
Yeah, so I think it's the first year. I think it's just Nashville Horror Con, and they've been doing that same con in Evansville, Indiana, which Evansville is kind of small, but apparently it's been very successful. So now they're going to have one in Nashville, and that one is July the 20th and 21st this year. Nashville Horror Con. I already have a booth there, so that might be something you might want to put on your calendar. So you got Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Festival, March 29th, 30th, 31st coming up. Then Nashville Horror Con, July 20th and 21st. So,
and FrankenCon's going to be in May.
Yeah, love it.
Well, that's all I got. You got anything else?
That's all I got for you, man. Don't forget, go and vote for Brigitte Byron to be part of the cast on Circus of the Dead 2, because I'm just dying to get killed by Papa Corn.
You're dying to die.
Dying to die.
To be down with the clown.
All right. The clown.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Until next time, you know what you need to do?
What?
You need to stay
hardcore.
So, yeah. Anyway, later.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Nothing harder.
Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.